Before I started Circle of Security, I just had advice from all sorts of books, all sorts of friends, and then my husband and I had quite a different upbringing. So in dealing with my own daughter Lola, I just felt lost and I didn't really know what worked for us. There was nothing that kind of gelled, so I thought, you know what, might as well talk to someone else about it and get another perspective. And what I liked about Circle of Security was that there were other parents in there, so you could just actually say examples and watch videos as opposed to reading a book and being like, yeah, that's great, but how does it actually work when you implement it? So that was why I decided Circle of Security was the next step for me. And the other thing, it also really helped me make sense of my childhood, because the only way you know how to be a parent is by what's taught to you. And you try to read about books, but it's so hard because you cannot actually visualize it and see it and implement it. So you only have your visuals in your mind of how your childhood was, or what you see in movies, which is fake. So I noticed sometimes I might be repeating patterns that I didn't want to be, just subconsciously. So that was one of the things that really helped me with Circle of Security, is to have an objective look in a non-judgmental environment with other parents. It just felt freeing. Also, you felt as if there was no judgment. So you were able to say, I had a really bad night yesterday with my daughter and I snapped at her. And instead of feeling judgment, it was like, I've been there. I get it. You know, I've been there at 3 o'clock in the morning and I've also snapped in. So I felt it actually liberating, as opposed to, I thought it was gonna almost make me feel more confined and go into my shell, but it was the opposite. You just get to the point where you're working on yourself as well in the group, and you're also working on your relationship with your child, and you're at the point where you're like, I've tried everything, I'm ready to just be honest because everything else hasn't worked. And the other good thing is that by being honest in the group, and you realize that everyone's going through something quite similar. You know, it's actually deeply liberating to talk about it. The wonderful thing about it is that you could apply it to any relationship and at any stage in their development. So I'm sure I could apply it when she's a toddler, an adolescent, or even when she's an adult. That's the great thing about it, is that it just gives you a structure and a pattern from which you could look at the situation through a much clearer. And so even though we still have moments where you're like, crap, this sucks, or I don't want to be in this situation, I'm able to be more conscious of it before it gets to that level of her having a tantrum or of me needing a break. I'm able to say, I can feel this coming on. Let's stop it now before it actually starts. That's one of the major things I've noticed. And I've also noticed, even in my relationship with my husband, because you could put Circle of Security can apply to any relationship really, I've noticed being much more aware of where our strengths are and where our weaknesses are as well. I think since doing the course, Lola's been much more connected to me, and throughout her development she's going to go through moments where, you know, whether it's hormonal, teenager phase, or anything like that, where she's going to go off and explore and need to come back to me. And I just want her to know that I'm a secure base. She could always come back to me and then always go out exploring. If you're on the fence about doing Circle of Security, I think you really need to look at why you're on the fence about it. If you're on the fence because of time, you could always make time. It's going to save you time. If you're on the fence because of the money, it will save you money in cups of coffee, in wine, and in Xanax. It will save you lots of money.